Hello and Happy New Year. This is Volusia Magazine. I'm Joanne Magley. In today's show, learning how to use your new e-readers, rescued pelicans released back into the wild, and a look at the winners of the annual awards banquet for the Volusia Manufacturers Association. Plus, Community Services Director Dave Byron and his guest, Amber Patterson, will talk about Volusia County's historic treasure, DeBary Hall. Those topics, news, and more coming up on Volusia Magazine. The Volusia County Council wrapped up its last meeting of 2012 with the dedication of the County Council chambers to former Chair Frank T. Bruno Jr. in honor of his 20 years of elected service and for being the county's first elected chair. Friends, employees, and elected officials gathered for the dedication ceremony. The County Council also said goodbye to outgoing members Joey Alexander, Carl Persis, and Andy Kelly. Bruno made local history by being elected in 2004 as the first Volusia County chair. He was re-elected 4 years later and left office in November, having served the maximum 2 consecutive 4-year terms.
Frank, I want you to know that you are so deserving of having had the opportunity to represent Volusia County in the state of Florida. And I'm so privileged to have had the opportunity just to know you.
Bruno was known as a consensus builder who strengthened relationships with municipalities, chambers, universities, regional organizations, and citizens. Under his leadership, with the full support of the Volusia County Council, countywide emergency dispatch services were established, ambulance service was integrated into county government, and the Ocean Center was expanded into a full-service convention center. The Volusia County Council has 4 new members this year: Jason Davis, the newly elected chair, Pat Patterson, who represents District 1, Deborah Denny's from District 3, and Doug Daniels, the new District 4 representative. The new members will be sworn in January 10th at the County Council's first meeting of 2013. Now, here's an update on a story that aired previously on Volusia Magazine. 4 seabirds injured by Hurricane Sandy and a local pelican have been nursed back to good health by the animal rehab specialists at Volusia County's Marine Science Center, and they've been released back into the wild. Hundreds of people were on hand at Lighthouse Point Park in Ponce Inlet to witness the release. 3 of the birds were at the Marine Science Center for about a month. 2 birds were there for about 2 weeks. The birds were given 24 hours of fluid therapy and were checked for disease. The birds were kept inside for 5 days, then put outside in the flight cage. 2 juvenile pelicans were rescued in Rhode Island in November, more than a week after Sandy made landfall in New Jersey. For about a week, they were treated and cared for at the Wildlife Rehabilitators Association of Rhode Island, then transferred to Volusia County's Marine Science Center in Ponce Inlet. The pelicans lost feathers, suffered scratches to their throat patches, and were exhausted, but otherwise were in fairly good condition. 2 more brown pelicans, blown north by Hurricane Sandy, later were transported to the center.
In this particular case, we weren't dealing with injuries that were really terrifically severe. There were no broken bones. The feather condition was really, fairly good, and so it was a matter of stabilizing the birds, treating basically superficial wounds and then treating the frostbite. That was not a huge problem. So we didn't have infections or a lot of internal problems, and so it was really a fairly quick turnaround. We're talking just a month later, and the birds are already back to the wild.
Howard Combs and David Hancock of Daytona Beach flew from Volusia County to pick up the first pair of birds. The second set of pelicans were flown to the Daytona Beach International Airport on board a Delta passenger plane. Since its opening in 2004, the Mary Keller Seabird Rehabilitation Sanctuary at the Marine Science Center has treated more than 10,000 sick and injured birds. For more information about the Rehabilitation Center, visit marinesciencecenter.com. E-readers are becoming increasingly popular and are transforming America's reading habits. In fact, a recent study by the Pew Research Center showed that 19% of Americans own an e-reader. That number probably approached 25% after the recent Christmas selling season. The demographics of e-reader owners are changing too. Once the hallmark of the young and hip, e-readers are now part of mainstream culture. Volusia County's public libraries are getting ready for the post-Christmas flood of new e-reader owners. They're planning more than a dozen free workshops in January to help new owners learn how to use their iPads, Kindles, Nooks, Androids, and other tablets.
Well, I think e-readers are becoming more and more popular, one, just because of their portability. It's easier for you to carry the lightweight e-reader than it is sometimes a hardback book. I think a lot of people like the fact that it's convenient. They can download from home. They don't have to travel anywhere. I think for a lot of our folks who have any vision issues, the e-readers allow you to expand the size of the print to the size that works best for you. So I think there are advantages to the e-reader, and I think that that's why a lot of folks are moving in that direction.
During the free classes, librarians will give overviews of e-readers, explain how to borrow library books, and offer one-on-one assistance. Participants may bring their e-readers or laptops. Free Wi-Fi is available in each of the county's 13 public library branches. To find out if your favorite library branch is offering a free e-reader class, visit volusialibrary.org.
Hello, I'm Joshua Wagner, Volusia County Council, District 2. Need some inexpensive family fun? The Volusia County's Marine Science Center is a great resource for learning about our local wildlife and native environment, and it's right here in Ponce Inlet. You can see many species of fish and turtles on display or explore marine life in field trips and lab activities. You'll see what it takes to rehabilitate sick or injured sea turtles and shorebirds. It takes more than cough medicine. Get up close and personal with a lionfish. Well, not too close, or a pelican, or a horseshoe crab. We don't recommend playing horseshoes with these little guys, or a hawk. You can even go on an expedition with an expert birding naturalist. For more information, visit marinesciencecenter.com.
Now we join Michelle Coates with a look at this year's winners at the Volusia Manufacturers Association's annual awards banquet.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Michelle Coates with the Business Beat. The Volusia Flagler Manufacturers Association recently held its 32nd annual awards banquet. Those kudos are worth repeating. The VMA cites 415 manufacturers that employ more than 8,000 in Volusia and Flagler counties. Those companies represent significant economic impact to our community, and the Industry Association recognized their efforts with honors such as the Green Award, Lou Pfeiffer Manufacturer of the Year, Friend of the Industry, the Carl Schiller Member of the Year, Exporter of the Year, and the Hall of Fame Manny Award. We spoke with Mark Andrews, Hudson Technologies CEO and incoming Volusia Flagler Manufacturers Association Chair, about those industry recognitions.
The Volusia Manufacturers Association had its 32nd annual banquet and awards ceremony.
More than 300 people attended the decades-old recognition dinner. Special individual awards were handed out along with 3 company awards. The Carl Schiller Member of the Year Award went to Thomas Hayden with Teledyne Oil and Gas.
Tom is the lead in our Manufacturers Excellence Division.
Paul Clare, retired president of what is now known as Hudson Technologies, was honored with the Hall of Fame Manny Award, a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Paul Clare is a retired president from Hudson Technologies, the company that I worked with, and he was my predecessor there. Worked there for 20 some odd years, was in industry for over 50 years, had some great stories and great dialogue around business and manufacturing.
A local shortage of skilled workers propelled the VMA to partner with Daytona State College and the local Workforce Development Board to find solutions. Those local manufacturers have joined forces to educate a local workforce via a poster campaign at the Advanced Technology Center. Local manufacturers recently unveiled 25 posters at the ATC, each of which showcases a local manufacturing company and the career opportunities that company has to offer. The goal is to connect manufacturers with educational institutions, building community awareness of the local manufacturing industry. The call to action: manufacture your future here now.
The Friend of Industry went to Dr. Ron Eaglin from the Advanced Technology Center, and the award was around what Ron and his team did to get the attention of our students going to the Advanced Technology Center associated with manufacturers.
Last year, more than $200 million worth of Volusia County products were shipped to 120 countries. The association would be remiss to not recognize local exporters.
The Exporter of the Year is really sponsored by the Economic Development Council. This year it went to Teledyne Oil and Gas for the things that they're doing in underwater, underground exploration.
Another exporter and green manufacturer was recognized as well.
Our Green Award went to Thompson Pump, and it was not only what they were doing with their products, but what they were doing with their processes. Thompson went green long before it was cool to go green.
The Volusia Flagler area's Lou Pfeiffer Manufacturer of the Year is the top honor.
The Manufacturer of the Year is the highlight of our evening. It is for that company, and our theme this year was Simply the Best. And our winner this year, AO Precision, was simply the best in all of those categories, and it was an honor to give them the award. This is the second time they've won it in the last 3 years.
Manufacturing in Volusia County provides more than $350 million in annual wages and produces among the highest average annual wage of nearly any other employment group within our local economy. Yet local manufacturers can't fill open positions with skilled workers. Daytona State College, the Center for Business Excellence, and the Volusia Manufacturers Association partnered on a new program to fix the problem: a CNC class at the Advanced Technology Center. With nearly 50% of the students hired to local manufacturing positions, including AO Precision, everyone agrees the program is a much-needed success. Manufacturing jobs represent over 5% of the total private sector employment in Volusia County. Volusia and Flagler counties are home to over 400 manufacturers exporting to every continent. That's something worth recognizing. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Michelle Coates with the Business Beat.
Smoking is bad for your health. However, smoking also affects innocent bystanders in the community. Secondhand smoke is easily transmitted through the air and is affecting those around you, especially children. Stephanie Strong has details in this segment of Community Health Matters.
An estimated 88 million non-smoking Americans, including 54% of children aged 3 to 11 years, are exposed to secondhand smoke. Driving while smoking is becoming especially dangerous because of the confined space that leads to intense secondhand smoke inhalation by passengers.
It's extremely dangerous for children because their bodies are still compromised, they're still developing, and sometimes the toxins that are taken in by those children can emit some dangers to their developing bodies.
Secondhand smoke comes from lit cigarettes and cigars. It also comes from smoke breathed out by smokers. When children breathe secondhand smoke, it is like they are smoking too. All Americans, smokers and non-smokers, pay the price for smoking. Smoking is still the leading preventable cause of death in the United States, causing 443,000 or nearly 1 of every 5 deaths annually. These include 46,000 heart attack deaths and 3,400 lung cancer deaths among non-smokers who are exposed to secondhand smoke.
Secondhand smoke is the smoke that's emitted off of a tobacco product. It could be cigarettes, it could be cigars. Any lit tobacco product is going to emit the smoke. The smoke that comes off of it while it's lit, whether it's from the burning end of a cigarette or whether it's from the smoke that a tobacco user would exhale, is what we call secondhand smoke.
As smokers go about their day, some tend to disregard secondhand smoke as a danger. Ask people not to smoke around your children. Support family and friends who also want to stop smoking. Decide to have a smoke-free home and car, and ask family and friends to respect that decision. Get rid of all ashtrays in your home. Teach your children to stay away from secondhand smoke, and encourage your teens not to smoke.
Each year, 37,000 Americans die in car accidents. And 38,000 are killed by secondhand smoke. To quit, visit floridaquitline.com or call the Quit Line for free counseling and information.
For more information, please visit www.volusiahealth.com. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Stephanie Strong, Public Information Officer for the Volusia County Health Department.
If you have any questions about this or any other health-related issues, log on to volusiahealth.com. Now let's join Community Information Director Dave Byron in the studio to talk about the DeBary Hall Historic Site with Site Manager Amber Patterson.
Well, thanks, Joanne, and hi, everyone. You know, the DeBary Hall Historic Site in southwest Volusia County is one of the county's most significant historic resources. This is an 1880s home of Champaign magnate Frederick DeBary, and DeBary Hall is a county-run attraction that offers a wide variety of programs focused on our rich history, especially that of the St. Johns River. Today we have with us in the studio a familiar face, Amber Patterson, who in real life is the DeBary Hall manager. Happy New Year to you, Amber.
Well, thank you. Same to you.
Normally, we see you at the beginning of the program as our host on Volusia Magazine, so we figured out you can't toss it to yourself.
No.
So now you're doing the real thing, which is what you really do for the county, which is the DeBary Hall facility, which is great in southwest Volusia County. For those people that don't know about DeBary Hall, give us a description of this facility.
Well, it's an 1871 vacation estate to a gentleman who is named Frederick DeBary, of course, which is where we get the name DeBary. He was a wine importer who lived in New York. He spent most of his time in the New York area, and this was like the smallest of his homes along the East Coast. And it was where he came to vacation during the winter months, and he was really interested in hunting, specifically bobwhite quail. And so this was a great area at that time for hunting bobwhite quail. And so he built this 8,000 square foot hunting lodge. It was just a humble hunting lodge in his area. But he had a great time, and he would invite a lot of his guests, his friends, family members, and you know, acquaintances to come and join him.
And quite a partier too, I'm told.
Well, I mean, if you're importing Mumm champagne to the U.S. market, I mean, you've got some good stuff to party with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. and actually, you know, at one time, he owned several thousand acres in that part of the Volusia County, did he not?
Yeah, it was about 6,600 acres. Wow. It's now 10.
Right.
That's what we have left.
But it bordered, didn't it border the St. Johns River?
It did. It went right up to the St. Johns River. In fact, from the second floor of DeBary Hall, he has a great view of Lake Monroe. And, you know, that was all of his front yard, basically, at that time. Wow. And he planted with orange groves, and then he had other areas that he would plant specifically with wildflowers so that the animals would come. And he just had a lot of stuff. It was a great big playground.
I remember going down there and watching the craftsmen that basically took this facility apart and put it back together, and it was a fascinating to watch them, because they actually numbered all of the pieces like a little puzzle, and you tried to put this facility back with as much historic integrity as you could and use the original items to the degree you could as well.
Every window that we could save, every shutter that we could save, every splinter of wood that could be put back was put back. And of course, over time, you're going to have to replace some things. But you're absolutely right. The people that you know, really worked on the house. They're craftsmen to the highest degree. They are experts in their field.
And I guess the last piece of the restoration that was most recently completed a couple of 3-4 years ago was the barn. And that in and of itself is quite a facility.
Yep, that's around the same time period of the house.
Right.
And so it's worthwhile restoring because it is so different. The building techniques that were used from the house to the stable are entirely different. And so that's where he spent a lot of time too, since he was a hunter. Of course,
Right.
he was going to keep his horses there and everything, and they spent a great deal of time there. We restored it. It basically kind of took an architectural salvage firm, took it apart piece by piece, cleaned all the pieces, inspected them to make sure there was not too much termite damage,
Right.
numbered them, bundled them, and then put them into storage. Then another contractor came through and just put the puzzle back together, but we included things like electricity, HVAC, and you know, anything that we could possibly want.
The house itself, Amber, as you said, I guess was the smallest of DeBary's many homes, but it had some pretty state-of-the-art features for that time period.
Oh, he had all the comforts that you could possibly want if you had that kind of money. He had running water in the house.
Wow.
Not many people did. He also had, which is what we think is really funny, a lightning protection system. And this is before people really understood how electricity worked. So we're really lucky that the house didn't burn before its time. But there are so many things there. He had a servant's call system, and he even had the whole house was fitted with conduit so that he could force acetylene gas through so that there was light in the evening that wasn't candle or oil lamps. It was really nice.
Yeah, that was unbelievable for that time period. Imagine what it must have been like for the neighbors, huh? DeBary's got the lights on again, you know.
And you can see it from all around.
Hey, so I mean, is this a museum or is it a tourist attraction? What can you do at DeBary Hall?
Officially, it's a historic site, so it's much more than a museum. Of course, we operate much like a museum does, and we have our regular hours of operation, but we also operate as a park, too. And so we have a spring-to-spring trail and a trailhead there with a picnic pavilion and bathrooms and all the creature comforts. And you can take that trail and enjoy bike riding or walking and go to Gemini Springs, Lake Monroe, or see birds and things like that. It's also, the park itself is also a very nice place to picnic if you just wanted to enjoy being there. We have a variety of different exhibits that are available to people who don't necessarily want to go inside, and you can bring your dog. It's a great place to go.
So how about the furnishings in DeBary Hall, Amber? How much of the original furniture do you have there?
I wish I could say we had a lot. We have a few pieces, but not as much as we would like. What we're doing is we're developing a furnishings plan, an official furnishings plan that would be appropriate to somebody of Frederick DeBary's caliber.
I see.
And we are finding pieces that he would have owned. That are close to what he would have owned.
Right.
And so we're working with other historic agencies to be able to collect those pieces. And in fact, other museums have offered to deaccession some of their pieces to donate to DeBary Hall. So
that's
little
really
by
nice.
little, it's coming together.
Right. That's really nice. Now you also have what you call the Imaginome Theater, which is you have a little film that you show that kind of puts you on a St. John's River trip.
Oh yeah, it does. That's my favorite part. Yeah, our Imaginome Theater is kind of an introduction to Frederick DeBary, why he came here, why other people were coming to the area at the time, and what was going on in this part of the St. John's River. And it takes you, it's as if you're invited as a guest of Frederick DeBary to join him at DeBary Hall, and you need to get from Jacksonville to Enterprise to join him over at DeBary. And it's a 13-hour overnight trip, and we've condensed it down to 15 minutes, so you don't even have to pack a bag or anything. But I can't promise that the trip is going to be uneventful.
So there might be a snag or two along the way. Huh?
It's just a teaser.
I got it. Okay. Hey, you know, for those folks that are looking for something to do, I know you always have events, you always have things going on. You do some very creative things down there. What's on tap for the winter season this year?
Well, coming up in late January, we're starting up our lemonade lecture season early this year because we have so many great speakers coming in.
Right.
That is a program that is every other Saturday at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and we have a variety of different speakers come in and talk about a variety of different topics. Most of them are historic. We have to tie it into our mission.
Sure.
We also have our Echo Rangers program, which is for children. And that goes through, that season ends officially with the last day of school. And then we have a big celebration at the end of that.
Wow.
And that is a wonderful, wonderful program, and people can find out all about it. We have a variety of other programs coming up as well, including the specialty tour program and the learn and tour lessons for field trips who want to come through.
What about for people that, you know, maybe they want to host an event there? You know, you have that beautiful porch. Which makes some great photographs. Do those kind of events take place down there?
Yeah, we do rentals all the time.
Yeah.
It's a great place to have either a wedding reception, family reunion. We've even had companies come in and host workshops for their employees.
Awesome.
So it's a really versatile space, but it's one with a lot of character. And so I think it's a real treat for people to be able to come out.
All right, so now that you've got people excited, tell us how you get there and whether there's your hours, whether there's a admission charge or whatever.
We're at 198 Sunrise Boulevard in DeBary, of course. You can reach it from I-4. It's very easy. And then we're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Of course, the last tour goes at 3:30. We want to make sure you see everything.
Right.
And then Sunday, we're also open from noon to 4 with the last tour going at 3:30. You can find us on our website, which is DeBaryHall.com, or you can give us a call. We love talking to people. So if you call us at 386-668-3840, somebody's going to pick up the phone and be overjoyed to hear from you.
And a very small admission charge, I believe. Yeah.
Yep, it's a small one. It's $5 for adults, $4 for seniors, and just $2 for children.
Well, Amber, I want to thank you very much for sharing the information on DeBary Hall with us. I know you're passionate about the facility. And again, thanks for helping us out on Volusia Magazine. We'll get you back in your regular role next week. How's that?
Thank you.
Our guest today is Amber Patterson. She's the manager at the county's DeBary Hall Historic Resource. And with that, we'll go back to you, Joanne.
Thanks, Dave. Be sure to mark your calendars for Thursday, January 10th for the first County Council meeting of 2013. Participation begins at 8:30 a.m. and the regular council session starts at 9 in the morning. For complete County Council information, visit volusia.org/County Council. Well, that's it for this edition of Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about our program, just give us a call at any of the numbers you see on the screen. You can also watch Volusia Magazine on the internet. Just log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the homepage. And don't forget to listen to Volusia Today, Volusia County Government's public radio program. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the radio stations listed here. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Joanne Magley. Have a great evening.